Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to start a new series of tests. But before we get started, I want to let you guys know kind of an update as to what's going on here on the channel. So you'll notice that we've been shooting off the tripod quite a bit. That's because of the whole COVID-19 thing. Jason has been sick for the last couple of weeks. And yeah, I've been forced to shoot off a tripod. But also our ammunition supply has stopped. So that's due in part, obviously, to the COVID-19 and the fact that most ammunition manufacturers can't keep up with the demand. So we're going to have to start rationing ammunition here on the channel, just like you at home are probably rationing ammunition yourselves. And the ammunition that we're going to be using going forward for the foreseeable future, we're going to have to purchase for our use. But right now we still have a good supply of Federal 223, which is what we're going to start this test off with, and hopefully we'll be able to continue with the Federal ammunition. If not, we'll let you guys know if we have to switch over to something else. But I wanted to do something a little bit different in that we've been doing the BCM endurance tests, and we're not going to be able to do them like we have in the past where we just go out and fire 1,000 rounds in an afternoon. We're going to have to slow that pace down to ration ammunition. And right about the same time COVID-19 hit, we got our hands on this PWS Mk1 AR15, which is a long stroke gas piston rifle, to do a similar test to see how far or how long it can go without cleaning or any type of preventive maintenance whatsoever and stay functioning. Our friends over at Big Daddy Unlimited, BDU, did supply this rifle to us for our testing. And if you guys would like to learn more about BDU, you can go over to militaryarms.org. There's a link up top for a 20% discount on your monthly membership. And once you become a member of BDU, it's like, think of it as the Sam's Club of the online retail business in the firearms and accessory space. Once you get in there, you can shop around between distributors and trying to find some really good prices in many cases on products and accessories there on BDU. So we want to thank them for helping to support us here at the channel. They don't care what we say about this rifle. They don't care if we break this rifle. So that's one of the major reasons why we work with BDU. Also on top of the rifle, we have a Steiner, which is the DRS1X Red Dot sight. This is from our friends over at OpticsPlanet. Just like BDU, they don't care what we say with regards to this sight, if we like it or if we dislike it or if we break it. So we want to thank our friends over at OpticsPlanet for supplying this Red Dot sight. Down below in the description, you'll find a discount code should you want to pick up this sight or something else from OpticsPlanet. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off shooting this rifle. I have already zeroed the Steiner to the rifle. I fired exactly 60 rounds that afternoon. I'm going to count my rounds. And today we're going to probably fire off around 200 rounds through the rifle. And we're just going to start seeing how far this rifle can go with no oil, no taking it apart and cleaning it, wiping anything down. Just going to run it like we have been the BCM. Granted, heat isn't going to be a factor in this test because we're slowing that cadence down quite a bit. Should we do another BCM video, we'll probably use fewer rounds and we'll slow that cadence down a little bit and just do some steel target shooting and stuff like we're going to do this afternoon until hopefully things return to normal and we can then increase the volume of fire through these rifles and see just how long they can go. So with that being said, let's get started with today's video. As I mentioned, we have already fired 60 rounds to this rifle, having zeroed the gun. We fired Federal 223, the exact same ammunition we've been using in the BCM test. So I'm going to break the rifle open and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what it looks like on the inside because this is the last time we're going to open it until I'm done with my testing. Pull the charging handle out and you'll notice that this rifle is just a little bit different than your standard AR-15. I always struggle with this T-handle in the PWS system. It's not as intuitive to me. All right, then we take the gas piston out of it. So this is your gas piston. As you can see, it attaches directly to the bolt carrier. Pretty cool design, having a long stroke gas piston on an AR-15. Other piston conversions would be short stroke piston conversions that I've seen. And these rifles seem to have a pretty good following. So it already has some oil on it, but we're just going to wipe it down really quick with oil again before we resume our testing. We're not going to put any special greases or anything on it. We're going to treat it just like we did the BCM. Just give it a little bit of oil, make sure that everything looks good. And from now on, this is it. Now, unlike the direct gas impingement rifle, I always have trouble with this darn thing. I know some of you guys that run these rifles are probably chuckling right now because I can't seem to get the stupid thing back together. There we go. No, there we go. Okay. Definitely not a fan of the way these things assemble and disassemble, but probably with some use, you would get a little bit better results. I'm obviously kind of new to this particular gun. I don't shoot the PWS rifles all that often. Jason's had one for quite some time and he really likes his. All right, so it's all lubricated. That's the last time. Again, we're going to crack it open. Now let's start doing a little bit of shooting and see how the rifle fares forward this afternoon. Hopefully we have no issues. So the PWS rifle has a long stroke piston, as I mentioned, but it also has an adjustable gas regulator. So if this thing starts to run into trouble down the road, I can always increase the gas to keep the gun working should I need to. That definitely gives it a different key piece of functionality over the direct gas impingement or internal piston system of the DI BCM that we're using in our other test. So if BCM gets crudted up and just can't cycle anymore, there's no way to increase the gas to get the gun working again. So we'll see how this all plays out. It'll be interesting to see how this rifle compares to that BCM. Now, Steiner says that this optic is really designed for 7, 25, and 50 yards for CQB fighting, but I find that it's just like any other red dot sight out there in terms of being able to hit targets out to 200 yards, 250 yards, if it's properly zeroed. It does have a large, nice field of view. It has a 2,000 hour battery life expectancy. It has 4 daylight settings and I believe 3 night vision settings. It does work with magnifiers. And it will run on just 1 AA battery, but it has the facilities for 2 AA batteries, and it also has 3 different reticle types. All right, let's do some shooting this 20-round Lancer magazine. We'll start off confirming 0 at 150 yards. All right, first 20 rounds of the afternoon, trouble-free. Looks like we're pretty much centered at 150. Put 30 rounds in this time. And let's stretch it out to 250, see if I can make it, just getting an idea what my wind looks like today. Yep. This is a superbly accurate rifle. 223 Wild Chamber is a chamber that I really like. It's meant to run either 5.56 or 223 ammo equally as well. It's kind of the compromise that's supposed to give you really good accuracy with either loads. And yeah, man, at 250 yards, all 30 rounds connected very, very easily using the Steiner Red Dot sight. Off to a good start. As we've been doing with the BCM, we're going to use different types of magazines in the PWS to see how it performs. Some of the magazines that we've used are magazines like this gray OK Industries magazine. These are military contract mags, and today we'll also be using some Lancer magazines. Definitely like the way this rifle shoots. Yeah, we got her cooking a little bit, some of that oil on the barrel. But yeah, I really do like the way this PWS shoots. Hopefully I'm not melting my bags. I've done that before. So with that would be our 200th round fired based upon the 60 that we fired when we zeroed the gun. I say we shoot a bit more. I have another 100 rounds loaded up into these 330 rounders, then 10 rounds in the 20 round magazine. Let's just go ahead and get rid of that 20 rounder first, which will bring us to a total of 300 rounds fired. Uh-oh, I just lost my dot. Brand new batteries. That last shot, my dot disappeared. And the dot's dead. So, in less than 300 rounds, I have killed the Steiner Red Dot sight. That's unfortunate. This thing's supposed to be shockproof, waterproof, all that stuff. And yeah, should be able to run on one battery. It's got good connection. It was just working. And the batteries are brand new. The auto shut-off shouldn't occur for 13 hours. But she's dead. So that's really bad. That's not an inexpensive red dot sight. Those things retail for over $600. Not impressed. All right, let's finish it out. So the next time you see this rifle, it's going to have a different red dot sight on it. Let's see if I can get lucky and hit it 150 with no dot inside the reticle, or inside the housing. No dot. Just centering it. No. Let's try 100. Yeah, no chance. Oh, I walked it in. Let's keep the gun in the same spot. Ah. Holy cow, once I walked it in, I was actually able to hit the challenge target at 100 yards consistently. But that sucker's dead. Let me see if I can get a picture of that for you guys. Let's see, let's invert this so you can actually see through it here. And right there, there's no dot. Hopefully you guys will be able to get something out of the video that I'm shooting right now. But yeah, so I was just sitting there firing and the dot just disappeared and nothing will bring it back. I was just about ready to throw in the towel on the Steiner Red Dot sight, but I thought, well, what the heck, let's take the other battery cap off and just see if that would change something. Now, the sight is said to run just fine on one AA battery. It has 2 in there, so I took the other cap off, took the battery out, put it back in, screwed the cap on, hit the power switch, and the thing came back to life. Still not impressed. That is not good, but they're, like I said, brand new batteries, so it couldn't be the batteries. One thing I was thinking about when I was taking the caps off is the fact that the AA batteries sit parallel to the bore. When the gun recoils, those batteries are going to shift inside the housing of the Red Dot sight and batter those battery contacts. And I remember when I took the sight out of the box, seeing how the batteries were set up, I thought, I wonder how Steiner got around that. Well, there are very stiff springs in the caps of these battery compartments, and when I felt just how much resistance there was, I assumed those springs would compensate for that battering or potential battering of the batteries. I'm not an engineer. I just know that that's been a problem with Red Dot sights in the past. Whatever reason, it came back to life, so I'm going to fire 60 more rounds. With that last string, we had fired 300 rounds through the rifle. This time I'm going to put 2 30-round magazines through it and see if the sight stays on. I may swap the batteries out yet again with another set of new batteries before we resume our testing in future videos. So we'll keep shooting the Steiner until it completely fails, assuming it ever does. All right, on at 150. So let's try something else. The sight's still staying powered on. I'm going to switch the reticle from the simple dot that I zeroed it to a dot with 2 stadia lines on either side of it and see if it maintains 0. And I'll fire 15 rounds or so, see if we're on target, and then I'll switch to the third reticle and see if it maintains 0 as well. Maintain 0. Let's go to the third dot. Now, this gives you 2 stadia lines, your original dot in the center, then a much bigger dot on the bottom for CQB purposes. And we're going to use the original small dot, not the big dot for CQB, because I'm shooting at 150 yards. and the sight just went off again. Oh, now it's back. Oh, nope. Came back for just a moment without the third reticle. Just tapping on it made it come back. It was fainter, as if the brightness had been messed with, but I can't get the brightness to come back at all. I don't think this is going to work, guys. I think this sight is done. Yep. Oh well, Steiner. Not even an A for effort. That's really bad for a sight that costs as much as this. Now, granted, it could be just my bad luck. Lord knows I have enough of that. But Steiner is such a big name in optics. I just can't believe that they would have a defect like that. The other thing I noticed when I was setting the sight up was that there might be clicks there, but they're so faint that you can't really feel them. So it's just, and the dials turn very, very easily on the adjustments, which was something I didn't like about the sight. It's holding 0, but that's when it actually powers on and works. So the good and the bad. The good news is the PWS Mk1 ran just fine for 360 rounds, which I would expect it to do. That's not very many rounds fired. Now that we have the barrel kind of settled in the next video, we'll shoot for groups of 50 yards like we did with the BCM. As for the Steiner, I'll put batteries in it back at the house and see if I can get it to work again. If it starts working, we'll bring it out for the next video in the series, but if it dies midway through the video, I'll have a backup sight with me and we'll go ahead and get it zeroed and we'll resume testing with whatever sight I replace this one with, should I not be able to get it working. Steiner, not impressed, guys. I expect more for that kind of money and with a name like yours. All right, guys, if you would like to support us here at the Military Arms channel so we can continue to bring you honest and unbiased information as humanly possible, that's only possible by our viewers because we don't take money from Steiner and we don't take money from PWS. We're supported by you, our viewers. There's a link in the video description down below to Patreon. Consider clicking that link and following it over to our Patreon page and consider becoming part of our Patreon family. Another option is to click the join button that's just underneath the video player right now, either on your mobile device or on your desktop. If you click that join button, you can support us directly right here on YouTube. And last but not least, please swing by and check out coppercustom.com. Guys, thanks for 12 years of support, and we'll talk to you all soon.